Thank you. Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. The Redevelopment Agency meeting of January 21st, 2009 is called to order. This meeting has been properly noticed and posted in compliance with the open meeting law. These proceedings are being presented live on KCLV Cable Channel 2 and are closed captioned for our hearing impaired viewers. The Redevelopment Agency meeting, as well as all other KCLV programming, can be viewed on the city's website at www.kclv.tv. The proceedings will be rebroadcast on KCLV Channel 2 and the web the Wednesday of the meeting at 8 p.m. and also on Friday at 4 a.m., Saturday at 7 p.m., Sunday at 7 a.m., and the following Monday at 1 p.m. As you all know, the building has a very good state-of-the-art detection and suppression sprinkler system, so if alarms should sound, please leave by the exits. Wait until our marshals say to come back in. There's no reason to believe this will take place, but we do this as a matter of caution. So with that, we're going to call item number 3, approval of the final minutes by reference of the regular Redevelopment Agency meeting of December 17, 2008. Mr. Adams. Oh, pardon me, Mayor Pro Tem.
I approve.
No, you look like you're at the starting gate, ready to go.
Minutes are approved.
Okay. Yeah.
No addition to the deletion, Your Honor. I'll make a motion for approval of minutes, please.
Very good. Let's vote on that, please. Opposed? Motion carries. Thank you. Now, Mr. Jerbick, I'm going to excuse Councilwoman Tarkanian and Councilman Barlow from today's meeting. Are there any special rules that we have to follow as far as being a council now of 5 people who will be voting?
Under the law, you still need 4 votes to pass anything. It does not reduce the size of the quorum.
All right, very good. So motion carries. Item number 4, I've been asked to hold this until February the 4th, so I would move to hold this till February the 4th. Please vote on that, please.
Mayor, before you go to the next item, too, I think Councilman Steinman had a disclosure he had to make for why he abstained on number 3.
All right, Councilman.
I was not a city councilman at that time, was not present at that meeting.
Very good, thank you. All right, as to item number 4, can we vote on that? I'm moving to hold it in abeyance till February the 4th. Opposed, please. Motion carries. Thank you. Item number 5 is discussion and possible action regarding a consent to assignment and assumption of disposition and development agreement for the Second Amendment to Disposition and Development Agreement by and between Alpha Omega Strategies, Inc. and Nevada Corporation, Alpha Omega Strategies, LLC, and Nevada Limited Liability Company for real property located at 1501 North Decatur Boulevard. This is in Ward 5, and this item is related to the Redevelopment Agency item number 6 and Council items 44 and 45. Redevelopment item number 6 is discussion and possible action regarding the third amended and restated disposition and development agreement among the City of Las Vegas, the City, a municipal corporation of the State of Nevada, the City of Las Vegas Redevelopment Agency, the RDA, a public body, and Alpha Omega Strategies, LLC, for real property located at 1501 North Decatur Boulevard, Ward 5. And as I mentioned before, this item is related to RDA item 5 and Council items 44 and 45. Mr. Adams?
Good morning. Scott Adams, Operations Officer of the Redevelopment Agency. Items 5 and 6 are related. Item 5, they both respect the agreement between Alpha Omega Strategies, Inc. and the City of Las Vegas and the Las Vegas Redevelopment Agency. Item 5 is a very simple one. It's a consent agreement where we would be consenting to the assignment and assumption of the agreement between Alpha Omega Strategies, Inc. and Alpha Omega Strategies, LLC. What the developer is basically doing here is assigning the agreement to an LLC. Now, I think there's always a concern when you go into an LLC about disclosure, and I would remind you as a RDA that anytime we enter into a new contract, revised contract with another party, they have to file a new disclosure of principles. They have done so. There is a new disclosure of principles attached to this. Anytime of anybody that has a 1% or greater interest in the project. So in the attachments to this consent agreement, there is a newly filed disclosure of principles dated January 12th. It does indicate the principles at the time we're making this assignment. The item number 6 is to approve an amended and restated, a third amendment and restated agreement amongst all the same parties. And it really does two fairly simple things, but it really allows for the project to move forward from a commercial development standpoint. It allows that the bond that the earnest money that they've deposited with the RDA in the city of $325,000 be posted as a surety bond against their off-site improvements. They have to do this in order to record the commercial subdivision map. Why this is important is they do have interest, and they certainly can speak for themselves on this matter, from tenants or to move forward with the actual commercial development of commercial parcels on the property. If I get the overhead, I can explain how this works. This shows, and I'll remind you that we looked at this agreement several times now. On the overhead, it shows in the green the property owned by the Redevelopment Agency, which is the main site where the former Wonder World was years ago on Decatur, and then the blue portion behind it is owned by the city. They're separate ownerships, and therefore they're each, the city and the RDA, a party to this agreement. The green portion was purchased with straight Redevelopment Agency funds years ago. The blue portion was purchased with RDA set-aside funds by the city, and therefore ownership of that portion vests with the city. That's why we have a three-party agreement. I would also remind you, should you approve these this morning, it is not the final approval. It's subject to the City Council taking action later this morning on the same companion items because it is a three-party agreement. The second provision that we're amending in this agreement is to a delay by 3 months from September to January of 2010, September of 2009 to January of 2010, the start of construction on the residential tower on the main site. I would remind you that in the provisions of this agreement, the developer is putting up a sizable security deposit that will be released in phases as they perform in the development of this project. And while the agreement allows for them to sell and develop commercial pads initially on the front portion of the site, which would be along the Decatur portion and then the grocery store to the interior, we do hold back a portion of that security deposit, which represents a portion of the value of the main part of the site until they perform on that high-rise or mid-rise residential tower and complete a fire station per the terms of the agreement. So we have a holdback in the event there's a non-performance by the developer on the residential development. I'd also remind you that per all of our agreements, we have in the agreement a clawback or a re-entry right should they sell those commercial parcels and they not perform on the start of construction on the commercial parcels. We do have the right to re-enter those parcels. So I think we're fairly well protected in this agreement, both on the commercial pads as well as in having some security interest held back on their performance on the main residential portion of the project. We think this is a very, very important project to go forward at this point in time. With the economy down the way it is, with interest by commercial businesses to move forward with a new grocery store in an area that I remind you was an area where 6 Albertsons recently closed, we think is very important to meeting the grocery needs of that general vicinity and then getting commercial outparcels developed, at the same time. So it seemed to be something that we should go forward with. There is a precedent for the use of the earnest money deposit for bond. We did something similar to that recently on the Jewel project to really serve as an additional incentive to induce the commercial development to go forward. So we believe this is a very thoughtful, calculated risk to allow commercial development to go forward in an area that I also remind you, the Wonder World project, I think we bought it back in somewhere around 95 and cleared the site and have been sitting on a deteriorated vacant site for well over a decade. So allowing this project to go forward with their commercial development just seemed to be the right thing to do at this point in time. So with all those considerations, staff recommends approval of both items 5 and 6, as I previously described. And the developers are here to answer any questions you might have on their current progress on the project.
Okay, gentlemen?
Thank you, Your Honor. Michael McDonald, Alpha Mega Strategies, President, 4908 Carmen Boulevard. I can't say much more than Mr. Adams has put forward, especially in the times that we're facing right now. The economic impact, not just to our city, but to this neighborhood, is extreme. And as he mentioned before, this has been a vacant site. It's the same speech that many of you have heard, and for many of you that have been out there have seen that this is an area that is in desperate need, on the verge of economic downfall. So I'm very pleased to follow Mr. Bruce Bain. He's the master developer, and we are very hopeful that everything is moving forward, even with the economy as a downturn. We've seen the interest in this site keep moving forward. As far as the seniors in the background, the senior building, we have been committed. We are committed, especially now. More senior citizens that are on fixed income have no place to go. They are now becoming homeless. The time is getting very desperate. Where we've seen before where they have been on the verge of apartments, they are now almost pushed to the streets. You have the resources. You know the data that I'm giving you is easy to be found by talking to the HUD department here or back in Washington, D.C. This is crucial, not just for us, but for other developers as well, to come in and provide some type of housing for our senior citizens. They've served their time. They've made this country great, and especially right now is a desperate time where we all need to get together and make this thing work.
All right, thank you, Mr. McDonald. The bottom line is this project has been before us many, many times, and the emphasis really is on the senior housing aspect of it. That's what the initial idea was, and it's been refined, it's been developed, and I think that any kind of commercial that's going to be built, which is new and glistening in that blighted area, is going to be an addition. But please keep your eye on the ball as far as the senior housing is concerned. That's really what has motivated the council to go forward as far as the entirety of the project.
And, Your Honor, with our conversations, as many of the conversations I've had, I've been committed. That was my cornerstone when I was in office. When I left office, that definitely became the flag that I wanted to carry. The sizable amount that financially being contributed to this by Mr. Bain shows that we are committed 100% to make this thing get built.
Thank you very much. Any questions or comments?
Yeah,
Councilor Ross.
thank you, Your Honor. Mr. McDonald, you and I both know when we were kids growing up out there, that was the edge of town. And I must applaud you and your team and your efforts. As I drive down Decatur right there and take a look at what could be, what used to be, and what should be, I'm looking forward to this in that area. I worked at One World when I was a kid, hung out over there when I was a kid, and I hate to admit that because it's really showing my age, but this is a project that is absolutely necessary in this community. I'm going to stand right there next to you guys as you go forward with this. Thank you, Your Honor.
Thank you, sir.
Any other comments or questions?
Yes.
Yes.
Mr. McDonald,
Are you allowed to talk on this one?
I am allowed to talk.
Are you sure?
I'm not sure, but I
I want
will.
an opinion from our attorney.
Yeah, right. Is the site being subdivided so that you can do your commercial away from the residential? Because I assume you have to get financing on the commercial that is very different from the housing. And how are you doing that?
Well, what we're doing is we're at Bruce Bain, 851 South Rampart. What we're doing is we're doing a commercial subdivision.
Okay.
And we're parcelizing the senior housing portion of the land into one parcel number. Then there will be another parcel number that will be divided into 3 commercial subdivisions. And we have the financing right now to go forward. We just need to have these items passed today. Then the city can give us an approval of sale, a letter of approval of sale, and then we can sign our purchase and sales agreement with the grocery store.
You have the financing on the commercial part?
We have financing to do the grading on the entire site.
The grading?
Yes. And quite frankly, there's 2 things that are holding up the senior. 1, bonds, which the city's aware of that issue. 2, tax credits. And as soon as that markets come back, or the other thing is if the project was fully voucherized, we could get financing on the senior project immediately. So if we, as I listened to some speeches yesterday, this project, this is exactly what was spoken to. And so if there's anybody out there that can help those two things, bonds, tax credits, and vouchers, this project will go forward. But we have plans waiting to submit, but it's $1 million to get our permits, and I'm not going to submit them until I know I have financing on that project. But we do have financing to grade the entire site and to start development, essentially.
Thank you.
Thank you. All right, any other comments or questions? May I have a motion, please?
Yes, Your Honor, I move to follow staff's recommendation for approval of item number 5 with all comments put on record, please.
Thank you. Let's vote on that, please. Opposed? Motion carries.
And item 6, Your Honor, make a motion, same motion for item 6 with all comments.
Thank you. Let's vote. Opposed? Motion carries. Thank you, gentlemen.
Thank you.
Good luck. Item number 7 is citizens' participation. Public comment during this portion of the agenda must be limited to matters within the jurisdiction of the Redevelopment Agency, and no subject may be acted upon by the Redevelopment Agency unless that subject is on the agenda and is scheduled for action. If you wish to be heard, please come up to the mic, give us your name. Be happy to hear from you. All right, I'm looking around. I see no one. The meeting is now adjourned, and the morning session of the City Council meeting will begin at 9 a.m. this morning. Thank you.